All right, so now I want to talk about our Havik shaped paddles, why they are so unique, and why they play so different in comparison to just about every other paddle on the market. So when we set out to make a new paddle, one of the problems that we were trying to solve was how do we make an elongated paddle with a lower swing weight? And I know that can be confusing, so let me dive into those terms a little bit more. An elongated paddle refers to the total length of this paddle. This paddle is 16.5 inches long, which puts it into the elongated paddle category. Anything above 6.5 inches is considered an elongated paddle. Now, the problem with elongated paddles is that the further and further that you move weight or add material away from your hand, the paddle exponentially feels heavier and heavier. The swing weight increases. And while swing weight is really important with pickleball paddles because you want mass in these paddles to keep them more stable, there's a breakover where if you start adding mass too far away from your hand, the paddle feels so heavy that you just can't swing it fast enough, or you start getting tennis elbow issues. So one of the easiest ways, or ways that I like to really explain swing weight, is that swing weight is kind of the perceived mass or the perceived weight of a paddle when you're swinging it. So I like to use the reference of a hammer. If I were to take this hammer and hold it in this orientation, the paddle or the hammer feels heavy because I have weight pretty far away from my hand. Now, if I were to flip the hammer over in this orientation, I can move it around. It feels really light. However, the mass of this hammer is the exact same either way. And so the same concept applies. The further that you move weight away from your hand with a pickleball paddle, exponentially the paddle feels heavier and heavier. So we decided, let's remove mass away from the head of the paddle. So we took 1.2 ounces of material from the head of the paddle, and then we were able to inject that back into the throat of this paddle in the way of foam. And why would we do that? Because the perimeter weighting, or the weight of a paddle, is still extremely important to the stability of the paddle, because anytime that you hit an off-center shot, if you don't have mass in this paddle, then it tends to want to twist. So we are able to then, like I said, remove the weight from the head of the paddle, but then still keep the same static weight of this paddle. So the result of this paddle was an elongated paddle that swings really fast and is really whippy like a shorter hybrid paddle, but you have the mass of a elongated paddle, so you're still getting the power, you're still getting the stability, but it is a lot more whippy. So that is a little bit about the Havik shape and why it is so unique to the Mavericks paddle lineup.